Okay, so every year I do this Oscar movie recap thing right before the Oscars of all or most of the films that are nominated for the big categories. And this year, it's gonna be kinda that, but slightly different. I haven't seen all the Oscar films, just because they either haven't come out where I live, or I just couldn't get to them. So full disclosure, I haven't seen The Post or Phantom Thread. But I'm going to talk about the ones I have seen, and then just some miscellaneous films from 2017 that I didn't get the chance to talk about, and people have asked for my thoughts on. So really, if this video's title was accurate, it would be Most Oscar Movies 2018 Recap, plus a bunch of other not really Oscar-related films, like Wonder, for example. Does Wonder have anything to do with the Oscars? I mean, kind of. Not really, though. But you know, that doesn't make as nice of a thumbnail. Also, I just want to say, I won't be talking about Blade Runner 2049, Baby Driver, The Big Sick, Logan, Dunkirk, or Get Out here, because I have videos talking about those in various degrees of detail on my channel. Those are all linked down below. In the description, you'll also find time codes to all the different films. Also, I'm on a bit of a time crunch with this video, so there's going to be more just footage of trailers laced over me talking here, which I know is what I normally do, but this video, there's going to be less editing than my usual videos. I'm sorry, but with the number of films and the time I have to get this video out, that's just how it's going to have to be. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. First film we've got is Call Me By Your Name, which is a film that I saw the trailer for and thought, well, that'll probably be pretty solid, and once I ended up watching it, I kinda loved it. Timothée Chalamet is great in it. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the next few years. Also, he's a rare case of an adult actor playing a teen character who actually looks the age he's supposed to be. Armie Hammer I've been a fan of for a while, and he also kills it in this. Him and Chalamet work very well together, and their character's dynamic was really interesting to watch unfold, which is obviously very important since that's really what the entire film is, as I'll get into a little more in a second. In terms of writing, it's fantastic. The relationships in this film feel totally natural and not remotely forced, especially the one between the two leads. I also love the setting of this film, Italy in the summer, in the 80s. It's a very pleasant place to spend 2 hours. Also doesn't hurt that the cinematography shows off that setting beautifully, along with everything else. It's very well shot. The music's also spectacular. There's just so much atmosphere in this film. The thing is, in terms of plot, there really isn't a lot of it here. There isn't a ton going on. It's really just like spending 2 hours in the summer in Italy watching these two develop a relationship. But because of everything that I mentioned before, it's not boring. It's surprisingly really engaging. Because of the setting and the music and just the atmosphere as a whole, but mainly because you care about these characters. So even when not a lot is happening, it's interesting. It's more of an experience than a film, which I know sounds like the most pretentious thing in the world, but it's the best way I could think to describe this. As far as what I didn't like, I could have gone without that peach scene. That's not something I think I ever needed to see or think about. Besides that, there isn't really anything. All in all, yeah, I loved Call Me By Your Name. It's a special kind of film where you just get totally absorbed in the movie's world and characters, and even though not a lot is happening, you care and are invested in it. It's a great story and a beautifully shot, unique, and well-acted film, and I'll give it a 9.8 out of 10. Then there's another Best Picture nominee, Darkest Hour. And yeah, it's good. It's not one of those movies I'm going nuts over, it's good. The thing that sets this movie apart is obviously Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill. He is phenomenal. He's almost definitely gonna win, and yeah, he deserves it. I at least couldn't really tell it was Gary Oldman. Partly sure because of the makeup, but mainly because of his acting. He is what carries this film, and the fact that this guy very much existed in real life and acted this way and had a huge impact on the world is just sort of fun to think about. I almost always enjoy that with biopics. The rest of the cast, from Deborah to Stannis, is pretty good. The cinematography is mostly pretty standard, but there are some beautiful and really well-composed shots, and some pretty interesting uses of camera work here, like how the camera will pan or slowly zoom in. That just stood out to me, because I thought this was going to be super average in terms of how it was shot, just like your average based on true story films. So those little changes pleasantly surprised me. The sets, costumes, production design, all of that is flawless. There's some funny moments. This is a good companion piece to Dunkirk. I just find it funny how both of these are nominated for Best Picture. And as many of you know, I love a good rousing speech in a film, and the one in this, from real life history, yeah, it was really great. My main problem with this film isn't really a problem, it's sort of just the lack of a lot of interesting things. Yeah, it's well made and interesting enough, it's just not exceptional. It's a bit forgettable, and that's a big thing with films for me. Even a terrible movie, I can enjoy and I'll remember it. This was kind of the opposite. It was a good movie that I'm not really going to remember. It's a bit slow as well, but it's never really that boring. It just sort of started and went and ended, and I was like, alright, that was a movie. It didn't really have an impact on me. So yeah, Darkest Hour is pretty good. It's got an excellent performance at the forefront, and the movie around it has some great moments, but sometimes can be just fine. I don't think you need to rush out to see this, is what I'm saying. It's still a good film though, I would just never watch it again. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Then there's the latest film from Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water. This looked like the weirdest film of all time to me, and watching it, sure, it's pretty weird, but it's also quite beautiful. Everyone in the film is amazing, from Sally Hawkins to Richard Jenkins to Octavia Spencer, but the standout for me was easily Michael Shannon, who's proven he is insanely good at playing just the creepiest, grossest, most awful characters. He is so amazing in this, and I think it's kinda crazy he wasn't nominated for his performance. Doug Jones as the Fishman is pretty great, and the practical effects here are phenomenal. There's never a point where the Fishman doesn't look real. And yes, I know there's probably a proper name for it, but I'm calling him the Fishman. The movie has some amazing cinematography, as is to be expected from Guillermo's films, and I just love the world and production design. Again, a staple of Guillermo's films. There's so much detail, and it feels like such a dense but different world. I also like the music, although at points it very much reminded me of the music from Up, and in certain scenes, that was kind of weird to be thinking about. And yeah, to address the naked fishman in the room, there is some pretty strange stuff in this film, but in the context of the actual movie, it totally works, which is very impressive considering how weird some of this stuff is. The story is very well told and never feels rushed or drawn out. It's pretty perfectly paced. You have enough time to get invested in all of this and understand what's happening, but it's not drawn out longer than it needs to be, and it's a pretty fascinating and exciting story. There are some things that I didn't love. There was one scene towards the end-ish, which I totally get, and they set it up in some ways, but it was so out of left field, it just really didn't fit for me. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be funny, or emotional, or what. And then the ending of the film. Now, if you've seen it, I'm not talking about the very, very end, even though that was kind of surprising. I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, like the climax of the film. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was also kind of predictable what was going to happen there, which was disappointing for a movie that otherwise was quite unpredictable. Overall, The Shape of Water is a very strange, very unique, and very memorable film. It's got great performances, a great world with great effects, and a great story about love and acceptance and all that. Overall, it's great. I'll give The Shape of Water a 9.3 out of 10. Alright, now we're going to get to the part of the video where I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some dislikes. But hey, contrary to what some people actually believe, I'm not going to change my opinion based on what other people say. So, I watched Ladybird, and I thought it was really good. I didn't love it as much as apparently everyone else did, though. In terms of the great stuff, all the performances are good, especially the main girl, whose name I don't want to butcher. She's fantastic. Also, David Wallace shows up at some point. I thought it was well-paced, I liked the characters and the main character's story. It had some pretty funny moments. It's well-directed, it's well-shot, it's mostly well-written, besides some points that I'll talk about in a second. And it's a nice coming-of-age story, and I usually just enjoy those in general. The thing is, everything is good, there were just a lot of moments and plot lines that reminded me of other films, or felt cliched, and I really wasn't expecting that from this film. The friends falling out because they start hanging out with someone else, going for a guy who is clearly a douchebag and not right for you. It's like, I've seen this a lot before. A lot of this movie actually reminded me of The Edge of 17, one of my favorite films of 2016. And to be honest, I enjoyed that movie a lot more. That's really my main issue with it. It's all pretty good, but it wasn't as revolutionary or amazing as I was expecting, or I guess had been told it was. Some parts, certainly not all, but some, kind of felt a little stale. I guess that might be partly on me for not managing my expectations correctly. So yeah, I know everyone's loving this film, and it's the best reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes or something, or at least it was, and I think it's pretty great. I don't think it's exceptional though. I'll give Ladybird an 8.5 out of 10. The last Best Picture nominee I'm going to talk about is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and I thought it was pretty perfect. This is definitely in my top 5 movies of last year. I'm certainly not going to spoil anything here, but I would say your experience with this film would be better the less you know about it, so I'd recommend watching the film first and then watching this. Again, won't spoil anything, but if you want to know nothing, you should skip ahead to the next film. Of course, the cast is great in this. I don't really think there's a lot to say, except everyone is brilliant, and all 3 of these leads have earned that Oscar nomination. Especially Sam Rockwell. I've loved his work for a long time, and this is probably his best performance to date. This is a black comedy. It's an incredibly dark film, but it's also laugh-out-loud funny at points. It flows perfectly, and never feels tonally inconsistent. The humor often comes from the very dark themes. Also, this is not for kids. And I say that because there were like 4 kids in the cinema when I saw this. So like, what the hell, parents? Do not take your kids to see this. The film is exceptionally well written and directed. The writing for the characters is so great. The main three especially are so layered and nuanced, and it's so masterfully executed. They're complex and mostly morally, at best, in a gray area. It's also a very unpredictable film. Like, a scene will start and I'm thinking, alright, it's gonna go this way, and then it takes a completely different turn. It constantly keeps you on your toes, and I love that. It's very well paced, well shot, there's some long takes that are very impressive, and it's very entertaining. I was never bored watching it, and when it ended somewhat abruptly, I was a little surprised, because I was so engaged in it. This is also very original. I'm pretty sure this isn't based on a book or something like that. And it's such a unique story. There are twists that I didn't expect. There are even emotional moments that I really didn't expect. The film's way of making you end up liking or rooting for incredibly unlikable characters is so impressive. And it's done so naturally. While I was watching the film, initially I was thinking, alright, some of this stuff is a little on the nose, or a little too coincidental. But as the film goes on, you sort of realize that this is set in a slightly elevated reality where, yeah, there are some unrealistically conveniently timed moments. And once you settle into that, it absolutely works. So ultimately, I think 3 Billboards is fantastic. I loved it when I first saw it, and the more I've thought about it as time has passed, I love it even more, and I really want to watch it again. 100% check this out if you get the chance. It's a great example of why I love movies. I'll give 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri a 10 out of 10. Then I saw All the Money in the World, and I thought it was pretty good. Also, I realized my voice is slowly dying as this video goes on, so let's hope I get to the end of this. Anyway, All the Money in the World. I mean, this is a film that I don't have a lot to say about, because it's quite good, there just also isn't anything that exceptional about it, so there's not a lot interesting to say. It is a step above Darkest Hour, though. Ridley Scott has proven himself to be a good director, most times, and Marky Mark and Michelle Williams are both really good. I really like the music, the movie on the whole is really tense and pretty engaging, although I did feel it was slightly too long. Like, towards the end of the second act and the start of the third, my interest was starting to slip a little. But it's a good tense movie, with characters whose changes and arcs are actually quite believable. I have to admit, even though this might sound insane to some people watching this, I wasn't really aware of this story beforehand. Like, I'd heard the name J.P. Getty before, but while watching the film, I thought it was based on a fiction book or something, just based on how comically over-the-top some of the stuff seemed to be presented at the start. So that was just really interesting and surprising afterwards to discover that most of this actually happened, because, like, it didn't happen that long ago, so I found it kind of weird that I didn't know about it. The big thing about this film is Kevin Spacey being replaced by Christopher Plummer at the last minute. And honestly, that was kind of fascinating for me while watching it. I was trying to spot what was off about it, if someone had a bad wig change or something didn't line up, or a CGI'd out mustache. But no, it flows perfectly, and Plummer is fantastic. He does deserve to be nominated. It's not just a nomination because of the whole Spacey thing, I'm pretty sure. And considering the time they had to do all of that, I thought that was pretty impressive. Overall, All the Money in the World is a really solid film that if you see it's on TV someday, yeah, sure, give it a shot. Didn't blow my mind, but it's well made and mostly engaging. I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Then there's I, Tonya, nominated for a couple of Oscars. With this film too, I thought it was great. It gets kind of hard when you're reviewing like 10 good movies in a row. There's not much to say. They're just really good. For this one specifically, I've only seen Margot Robbie in 2 things. One where she was fantastic, and one where she was in Suicide Squad. And this film definitely tipped the scales in the direction of, yeah, she's fantastic. Allison Janney is also amazing, while playing just the worst human being. She's almost definitely gonna win. And this really surprised me, because I thought he was barely gonna be in it, but Sebastian Stan was outstanding in this. I've always thought, yeah, he's pretty good as Bucky, but here, I honestly think he should have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nomination. For sure. I have way more respect for him after seeing this, and I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for what he does next. This movie mixes the drama and the comedy quite well, both aspects work for the most part. The style is kind of Scorsese-esque, and I quite like that too. It was an interesting and entertaining way to tell the story. In terms of the negatives, some of the ice skating looks really fake. I don't know if they used a green screen or CGI or something, but there are points in those scenes where it just doesn't look real, which hurts those important pivotal moments. The pacing, while good for the most part, was a little weird at points. Like, there are parts where you totally forget about certain characters, which I mean, they do acknowledge, but it's still weird. Like, it feels slightly unfocused. It goes to one plot and then leaves it for a really long time, and then goes to another, then goes back, and you're like, oh right, that's a thing. Like, around halfway through, the movie basically becomes I, Jeff. Which again, I love Sebastian Stan in this, and I guess that's supposed to show how mixed and confusing all of this was in real life, but for an actual film, it did feel a little sloppy a few times. All in all, I thought I, Tonya was really great. Don't know if I'd watch it again, and it definitely has its flaws, but it's a showcase of great performances that for like 85% of it was really entertaining. Plus, it's such a crazy story in real life that I'm glad I now know more about it. I'll give I, Tonya an 8.8 out of 10. Then there's The Greatest Showman, which I'm not going to go into a ton of depth on, because yes, it's technically an Oscar film, but this is where we start diverging a little from the Oscar movies. I was interested in this because I love La La Land, I love musicals, sometimes, and I love the cast. And I saw it, and it was pretty much exactly what I was expecting, which is a pretty fun kids film. I mean, this movie is kinda hard to not at least enjoy. It's got a cast that's filled with super charismatic actors and actresses. It's got fun musical numbers with great production design and costumes and pretty catchy songs. It's pretty feel good and uplifting. It's just a good time, and I was entertained by it. As a film, I did have some problems with it. For one, I felt like the movie wasn't super well paced. Like, it moves really, really fast, especially at the start. And I know we don't want to go for like an hour about Hugh Jackman's depressing life as a child and an office worker and whatnot, but it just zoomed by that so quickly that I didn't really feel anything. Like, he goes from this lowly shoeshine boy to having the best circus in the universe in like 30 minutes or something. And I didn't get emotionally invested at all. It's also quite cheesy and predictable with both the story and the message, but hey, it's more of a kid's film, so it didn't bother me that much. I know I'm making it sound like I hated this. I really didn't. I enjoyed watching it. The soundtrack, while I don't think it's as good as La La Land, I still really liked. I love some of the dance numbers, especially the one with Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron in that bar. It's got some funny moments. I think I was just expecting a bit more, I guess, plot-wise, and it ended up being very simple and not really super memorable. Overall, The Greatest Showman is a fun way to kill an hour and 45 minutes. If you go into it with lowered expectations, I think you'll have a great time. And look, I enjoyed it but didn't love it, but everyone I saw it with really loved it. So hey, it seems to be a crowd pleaser, and I'd say it's a good time, especially if you aren't expecting like a masterpiece or anything. I'll give it a 7.9 out of 10. Then I saw Wonder, and I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Little backstory here, and I think this might be true for a lot of people. Wonder was one of those books I read when I was like 12 or 13 with my English class, and because of that, I'm pretty fond of the book and even have a little nostalgia for it. And so I was curious to see how they would adapt it to film. And the way they did it, I really liked. Cast-wise, Jacob Tremblay is obviously a super talented young actor, and he's perfect for Augie. Also, based on all the descriptions in the book, I was curious to see how they would do the makeup for the face, and it's also really great. It's not over-the-top cartoonish, and it looks realistic enough that this could be a real kid. Owen Wilson is really great as Augie's dad, I loved him in this, and most of the rest of the cast is pretty good too. I also really enjoyed how this film told the story from different perspectives, which I only remembered the book did once I was in the cinema. This isn't just Augie's story, it's also about the lives of the people around him and how he affects them. And I found that especially interesting with his sister. It's a new way of looking at a story like this that I really appreciated. And really, what I enjoyed the most about this film is how much I cared about these characters and how emotionally invested I got. Which again, I was not expecting from the Wonder movie. But from the get-go, you feel sorry for this kid, and you can relate to some of his struggles, or some of the other characters' struggles, and you're rooting for them, and the emotional moments actually hit almost all of the time. On the whole, it's a great example of a feel-good movie. You just feel pleasant and happy and uplifted when you leave this film, and I love that. I enjoyed how the story progressed and how the characters grew. This wasn't perfect, there were a few things that I didn't love. For one, there are some really cliche moments, and I guess those were in the book. I haven't read the book in like 3 or 4 years, so I don't remember it exactly. But kinda like Ladybird even, although in a much simpler way. The best friend falls out with the best friend over summer because she starts hanging out with other people kinda thing. Stuff like that I felt like otherwise, the movie did a pretty good job of avoiding. Also, some dream sequences, or daydream sequences, I guess, I found a little odd. And yeah, of course some child acting isn't as good as, the adult acting. But that's to be expected, and I don't want to be mean because, hey, they're kids. Plus, it wasn't terrible or anything. Overall, Wonder was a lot better than I expected, and it's just a great feel-good film. It's a step above what I think it could have been, which is just a generic kids film about overcoming the odds and standing strong. It does fall into a few of those cliches and dumb moments occasionally, but I left this just feeling so happy, and honestly, I'd really recommend watching it. I'll give Wonder an 8.5 out of 10. And finally, I saw Coco at long last, and I thought it was great. It's another movie that sort of proves to me that still, Pixar's original films are their best. Most of the time. This film really reminded me of original Pixar from their earlier days, and what they did so well back then. You take a really interesting concept and then build a rich, fascinating world around it and fill it with fun characters, good humor, emotional moments, great music, and beautiful animation. That is not an easy combo to pull off, with most things being terrific, and this film did it. Pixar is so excellent at world building, and with this film's World of the Dead, it again does it very impressively. Also, with this film's premise, it was a really interesting look into an aspect of that culture that I of course am aware of, but I didn't really know that much about, so that was cool to see. The animation is also incredible, like some shots of the Land of the Dead are just breathtaking with the colors and details. This movie has that signature Pixar emotional hit towards the end, and like most of their films, yeah, it made me choke up a bit. Character-wise, some obviously get a lot more to do than others, like we don't really spend a lot of time with some members of the main kid's family, but that's fine, because they weren't as important to the story as others were, and spending more time with them I think would have just bogged the film down. A big idea in this film is also music, since it's really the main character's motivation, and the music is pretty fantastic as well. I also enjoyed the message of the movie quite a lot, and the jokes were overall pretty funny. As far as the negatives go, there were a few moments that really reminded me of other films, and I'm not going to say they were ripped off, but it was just like, you've seen some of this stuff before. Two main examples are Kung Fu Panda and especially Monsters, Inc. And in that sense, yeah, there are parts that are quite predictable. There are a few big twists in this film, and I'll admit, one or two I didn't see coming. But one of them was so painfully obvious, and one that we've seen in multiple Pixar films before this, that it was just sort of annoying to have to watch it play out. And with this really feeling like one of Pixar's older films, that's pretty great for the quality, but it does also mean it feels slightly formulaic at points. Besides that, I really like Coco. This is definitely Pixar's best since Inside Out, and it felt sort of like a return to form for Pixar. It's Pixar's good side in a nutshell basically, with the world and characters and music and animation, and I'll give it an 8.9 out of 10. Okay, so 3 little things here at the end. Firstly, now that I've seen more films, my updated top 10 movies of 2017 list. Dunkirk, Star Wars The Last Jedi, John Wick Chapter 2, Call Me By Your Name, Spider-Man Homecoming, Blade Runner 2049, Logan, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Get Out, and of course, Baby Driver. Secondly, now that I've talked about most of the Oscar films, I put out my Oscar predictions on my Instagram, so here those are now. Feel free to pause. And finally, while I actually kind of liked Jimmy Kimmel as the host last year, and I imagine he'll probably do a good job this year, I also want to put out my predictions for all of the jokes that are going to be told. Because let's be real, they can be a bit predictable. There's going to be some Trump, obviously. Something about how everyone in Hollywood is a weird creep, including probably some Christopher Plummer joke in there. Maybe a Henry Cavill mustache joke, if we're lucky. And there are going to be dozens and dozens of Moonlight Actually Won jokes. Mark my words. Hopefully it'll still be fun to watch though. So those were my thoughts on the Oscar films this year, and some other films. What did you think of this? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson. Also, just hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, so thank you very much for that. Check out this podcast about movies and TV and whatnot I do every other week with a friend of mine. It's called The Poorly Planned Podcast. And subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.